Welcome to the fifth and final video in the Stupid Motor Learning Tricks for Volleyball coaching series. I am Mark Massey, and in this video we're going to examine how on-court immediate video feedback can transform skill learning with your athletes. But first, let's quickly review the findings from our previous 4 videos. In Stupid Motor Learning Tricks number 1, we learned that practice conditions need to closely simulate game conditions in order for skill training to transfer. Unfortunately, with many traditional volleyball line-type drills, this doesn't occur. In part 2, we focused on counterintuitive hard-first training. Research shows us that initially difficult hard-first game-like training allows us to develop the connections between technical skills and decision-making that makes skills sticky. While typical learning progressions make rational sense, they are, in fact, a slower way to learn. In part 3, we discovered that zeroing in on mistakes and errors, the most common and instinctive type of feedback for many coaches, is actually a slower way to teach than focusing on successes and is simply ignoring most errors. Part 4 revealed the hidden power of visual modeling techniques, the most natural learning process humans have. If you've missed any of these videos, just search for Stupid Motor Learning Tricks for Volleyball Coaching on either Google or YouTube. As we start to assemble each of these 4 explorations into a cohesive model for teaching, we see a dynamic relationship begin to take place. In fact, we've actually constructed a 4-step motor learning recipe for effective skill teaching. Repeated motor learning research shows us that our skill training needs to be as game-like as possible, that the best learning occurs in the sweet spot just past the edge of our comfort zone, that ignoring errors and focusing feedback on good touches and decisions can be much more productive, and that visual modeling speeds learning by tapping into our most primitive but efficient natural learning mechanisms. Finally, all 4 of these processes are accelerated by using IVF, or immediate video feedback. Immediate video feedback is a linchpin technique that magnifies all of the other positive coaching techniques going on underneath its umbrella. We can take our cues on its power from 2 of the brightest coaching minds in volleyball history. So let's check in with them. John Kessel is the Director of Sport Development for USA Volleyball and is generally recognized as one of the foremost thinkers about how to teach the game, both thoughtfully and with heart. In a recent high-performance symposium for USA Hockey, John addressed the issue of integrating motor learning skills with our coaching practices and why we have done such a terrible job of it in the past. When talking about what motor learning research has taught us, he commented that some of it is 40 years old and we still ignore it because of tradition. He also noted that we tend to teach the way we were taught, which in a way is not our fault, since our most natural way to learn is to mimic those around us. But here's the kicker. The problem with our traditional way of teaching skills is this. It's not because they don't work, it's because they are inefficient. Unfortunately, this leaves us in a self-perpetuating and inefficient cycle, in part because we don't have many good models yet for how to teach differently, and also because our other methods are just not quite bad enough that we totally fail and are forced to take a different path. When no one has a lever, then it may make perfectly good sense for all of us to shove and struggle and gradually move the huge block down the learning path inch by inch. But as soon as just one creative person brings a lever into the picture, it changes the game. What was hard is now easier and faster. And if you don't have a lever, you become the slow horse in the block moving race. Immediate video feedback is a learning lever. A few years ago, I made a presentation at the National Coaches Convention on video feedback techniques with a very experienced coach in the listening audience. A few months later, he wrote me about his experience with trying video feedback with one of his athletes. He and his player had been working hard for over 2 years to correct a particular problem. "Mark," he said, "we fixed it in just 15 minutes with video feedback." Former USA national team coach Jim Coleman is a coaching legend who was also a great innovator in our sport of volleyball. His own struggles with endless hours of editing VHS videotapes set him on a journey to discover a faster way to provide video feedback for his players. And this is where the first modern on-court immediate video feedback system came from. His innovative use of in-the-gym TiVo video feedback, but delayed by 20 or 30 seconds rather than the 2, 3, or 4 hours as the TiVo system was designed for. In writing about the system, Jim commented that this is just the first step in immediate feedback video. I am certain that there will soon be commercial instruments which will improve on the system. Of course, Jim Coleman's prediction was right. We do have the technology now, because any iPad or iPhone with video delay apps that cost just a few dollars can do much more to provide flexible, immediate video feedback than Coleman's innovative but expensive, cumbersome, and difficult to assemble TiVo contraption. So all of the science and two of the brightest and most respected coaches' minds in volleyball tell us that we need to get motor learning-based training techniques into our gym as a routine way of teaching. And that leaves all of us with both a responsibility and a question: how do we use this technological leverage to bring our gyms into the 21st century? In video number 4, I discussed 6 ways that video modeling could impact learning, whether focused on a teammate or self-model, or technical training versus game performance. So let's take a look at several specific ways that immediate video feedback can accelerate player learning speed. Immediately showing players alternating video of themselves compared to a competent teammate is both simple and effective. Players can also view quick comparisons of their best self by looking at pairs of okay and great executions. There's a lot to be learned by comparing 2 different versions of a skill. For instance, setting a ball when in the setter sweet spot or out on the 3-meter line. Motor learning research tells us that this variable training format is more productive than repetitions of the exact same skill over and over. We can go even one step further in creating skill stickiness by providing immediate video comparison feedback, but with the skill variations presented randomly. Say, passing 2 balls served down the line but short, then a floater from cross court, followed by a heavy, deep spinner. One of the real challenges over time is this missing link of how to provide immediate video feedback for gameplay, say full practice scrimmage games. We've always had this gap when it comes to providing video feedback to players when we move from a drill setting to game performance. However, the flexibility and mobility of iPad-based immediate feedback systems now provides creative coaches with the means to test whether they and their players are truly creating game skill transfer. Over the past 3 years, I've specifically tackled this and other video feedback challenges with one single question in mind: how can I use science to help my players learn faster? During this time, I've read hundreds of motor learning research abstracts and dragged bits and pieces of some of the most promising ones into my gym to test out how well they actually work in real life. In the past year, I've narrowed down the very best ones into a system that I call Volleyball Video Lightning. Now, Volleyball Video Lightning is my effort to merge motor learning science with iPad immediate video feedback technology to help players learn faster. Through experimentation, I've developed a series of simple, easy-to-use video feedback recipes and formats that coaches at any level can apply to their training. These techniques help players both visualize their performance future and to create rapid growth, sometimes radically rapid growth, along that same path. Immediate video feedback helps us overcome the learning inefficiency that John Kessel talked about in our gyms, the inefficiency that comes from ignoring motor learning science. When you launch video feedback as a learning tool in your gym, I believe that you will come to the same conclusion that I have, that it creates transformational skill building, replacing days, weeks, and sometimes months of tedious training with high-speed breakthroughs for players. The Volleyball Video Lightning series includes 9 core videos, almost 90 minutes worth of detailed coach training and the hows and whys of immediate video feedback. Everything from the best equipment to where to place the iPad for best results to exactly how to capture and deliver feedback in the middle of intense scrimmage play. I address the keys to effective visual learning and take you on a walkthrough of exactly how to use the app. The gym feedback sessions addresses all of the nitty-gritty details of how to blend video feedback into the flow of daily practice in your gym. With rapid learning formats and effective feedback filters, we dig into how to take the ingredients supplied by science and how to specifically apply them to video feedback on the volleyball court. For the more adventurous, I've thrown in a wildcard video on some advanced techniques for you to consider, as well as equipment and other resources that will help speed your implementation of video feedback training with your team. When you grab these 9 videos, you are essentially creating a 3-year time warp, shortcutting all of the false starts and dead ends I encountered while trying to merge science with real-life training issues in my gym. If you want to apply science to your training, if you want your players to radically boost their learning speed, if you want the coaching edge your opponents don't have, then you want to get Volleyball Video Lightning right now. The video series is available for immediate streaming online through Gumroad. If you see a small button in the upper right-hand corner or a link below the video, simply click it to get started and get instant access to the training. Or you can just head over to volleyballvideolightning.com/start to get the rapid learning jump on your competition right away. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you there.